My name is Caitlin Jude Pasalon, and I am the daughter of two Filipino immigrants currently living in Santa Clara, California. But my life and cultural background has never just taken place in one location. I was actually born in Chesapeake, Virginia in 2002, where I spent most of my childhood. Then, when I turned 8 years old, my parents decided to move back to their hometown in the Philippines. As a Filipino American who has experienced growing up in multiple different places, I never truly felt like I belonged in either place. I never felt like I could fully be accepted as an American, but I also never felt like I could fully be accepted as a Filipina. It made me wonder what my life would have been like had I simply stayed in one place. My family's cultural history and journey migrating to the United States has helped me reflect upon what I have learned from my experiences on both sides of the globe.
My name is Raquel Pasalon. I was born on August 20th, 1973 in Makati, Philippines. Makati City is next to Manila, which is the capital of the Philippines. The Philippines is segregated by different provinces, like the rural areas. In the provinces, there's not much to do there. People's jobs are fishing and farming, but in the NCR, or the region where Manila is, it's more advanced. It's the more developed area of the Philippines. That's where Makati is. So I met my husband in college. He was my classmate in trigonometry. So one day when I was about to go home, I was riding a jeepney and he was calling me. He said, "Classmate, hey classmate, can I have your number please?" So I didn't give him my number at that time because there were a lot of people, I was kind of embarrassed. So, but of course, I was killing. But the following day, he was still asking for my number. I was surprised, and he was sorry about what happened the other day. He was saying he didn't intend to embarrass me, but he did want my number. But I still didn't give my number to him. So I was surprised again, like a couple of days after that, when he was able to call me. He got my number from a friend of ours. So that's when we started talking and then dating. So we dated for a while, and he followed me around. Whatever subject or course I get, he gets to. But one day, I was surprised when he told me that he wanted to drop out of school. I think nahihirapan na siya financially. They were probably having problems with money, so he wanted to start looking for a job. So I let him do whatever he needs to do. I just kept on studying. So, because my goal is to finish college. So if he had to go to work, so be it. And then one night, he invited me to dinner in a fancy restaurant. And then he proposed. So he proposed, but he said, I will have to wait for him for 2 years because he's leaving. I think he's leaving a month after that night. So paalis na siya. He got his visa. He said in 1 month time, he's going to America. So I said, why? And he said, he wants to prepare for our future. He thinks that he's gonna get a better job and there's better opportunity here. In America, we will have a better life. It's more secure. It's more safe. That's what he told me. So I said, okay. So, mauuna siya. It's gonna go first to prepare everything. And then kukunin niya ako. That's what he promised. So, after a month, umalis nga siya. He went to America. So, I was doing my internship then. So at that time, it was just a long-distance relationship for us. So he calls me every single time. I believe he was having a hard time too. So all he did was work, you know, and save money, because he really wanted to save money for us. So after my internship, I finally got my visa to visit him. So nung nag-visit ako sa kanya dito, he didn't want me to go back to the Philippines anymore. So he asked me if we could go ahead and start family. So I said, okay, why not? Okay. So after that, nag-change na yung life namin. So I was in medical school in the Philippines, but now I cannot practice here in America because I have to take several tests, and it's very costly. So at that time, my papers were still being processed and I can't really get a job. So I got pregnant with my daughter and ended up staying home while my husband is doing double jobs so he can earn more money. So the dilemma was, I need to earn money so we can save more money, you know, but at the same time I need someone to take care of my daughter, and I cannot just send her to a daycare because it's very expensive too. So to send her to daycare, I need money and I need a job to get the money. So it was really difficult. So I ended up staying at home and my husband working, you know, doubles so we can pay for a mortgage. So that's what happened. So when I came here to America, the immigration process is very tedious. You have to sign a lot of paperwork and go to the clinics and get your vaccination updated. So one day I was in a clinic and this nurse made me kind of upset because I overheard her saying stuff to my husband. So there are some instances wherein Filipino women would come here to America or meet American citizens so they can get green card and so they can become American citizens. You know, so this nurse that was attending in the clinic was kind of implying that I'm taking advantage of my husband to get a green card so I can become an American citizen. And that made me really upset. So initially, when my husband was being sponsored, we only got a green card. That will be the initial step. And then after, I think it took us 5 years with green card before we became American citizen. Of course, my daughter is already an American citizen being born here. So we took the oath for becoming a citizen. I cannot remember when. I think that was in 2005. So we become American citizens. We had an interview, took the oath, and we wanted to become an American citizen because my daughter is already an American citizen anyways, and there are certain benefits that American citizens have rather than just staying with a green card or as an immigrant. So like travel, for instance, like you can travel wherever being an American citizen. So when we first came here to America, we stayed in Virginia. Kasi my husband was employed and was sponsored by his employer in Virginia as a chef. So while my husband was working as a chef, I was staying home, taking care of my daughter. So until my daughter was about probably 6 or 7 years old, I was raising her. So at that time, when my mother would come and visit us and stay with us, she would take care of my daughter, and I can go work and help out, you know. So initially I worked where my husband was working in a restaurant as a waitress, and that was really hard. I am a doctor in the Philippines, but I cannot practice it here because of these certifications that I need to take before I can do that, and those certifications are very costly, and I can't afford it. I can't even afford to take the test, and I won't be able to afford, if I work, I won't be able to have time to review for it. So it was really difficult. I eventually found a job that was related to my degree. My bachelor's degree was in medical technology, which was my pre-med. So I started off in a clinic. I was able to find a job in a clinic. I was referred to by a friend to the clinic's owner. That's why I was able to get the job. So nag-work ako doon as a medical assistant, I think. Yeah, I think it's a medical assistant. So I was doing the front and the back of the clinic at the same time. The doctor knows I was a doctor. The owner was a doctor who graduated from the Philippines as well. So he knows I'm a doctor, so he knows what I'm capable of. So he lets me do this stuff in the back as well. But of course, I only get paid as a medical assistant still, because I'm not really certified. I worked my way up. I was able to get a medical technology job in an urgent care after a while. So my husband was doing better as well. He was able to put up a business with a business partner. They were able to open a restaurant of their own. So I thought we were getting really there. We were getting there. We were able to buy a house. But then recession came in 2008. So restaurant business was down, and we were devastated. We couldn't even pay for our mortgage. So I have a sister-in-law. My husband's sister lives in Charlottesville, Virginia. We stayed there for a while. We sold our house, and I think we stayed there for maybe a couple of years. We thought we were gonna get better. I work as a phlebotomist. I couldn't get a medical technology job in UVA because, again, they need certification for a medical technology. So I cannot work as a med tech, which I used to do in the urgent care back in Virginia Beach. So it's a UVA, no, I can only work as a phlebotomist. So it was difficult for us. It was a very difficult 2 years. And then we decided to go back to the Philippines. We thought na makakabuild kami ng better life dun sa Philippines. With the little money, we could probably put up a business, and I can practice as a doctor there. I can always practice as a doctor in the Philippines because I still have my license. And I thought it was a good thing for my daughter. She's gonna be learning the culture, the Filipino culture, and the tradition. After several years staying in the Philippines, we decided to come back to America. Lumalaki na yung anak ko, and she really wanted to study here in America for college. So, like, okay, we'll give it a try again. So this time we went to California instead of Virginia. We had a rough time in Virginia in the East Coast, so we wanted to try the West Coast. And anyway, my husband's niece was here as well, so naisip namin na it will be better if you know someone here already. You know, it's will be much easier, I guess. So we decided to stay in California. The difference between here in California and Virginia is that here it's multicultural. We have a lot of cultures here, and it's I feel like more welcome here. I see a lot more Filipinos here than when I was in Virginia, though the people there are courteous as well. But you know, I just feel more at home here in California. I am just glad that I know how to speak in English. In the Philippines, we are taught English since we're little, like from grade school until we graduate in college. English is second language in the Philippines, so any direction or instructions are all in English. When I get here in America, when I came here to America, it wasn't as difficult anymore, so I can converse with other people. Though I know people still know that I'm not from here because of my looks and my accent, I still is able to converse with them, which is really good. In some ways, it is better here in America, like security-wise, safety-wise. You know, in a third world country, you'll never know what's gonna happen all the time. The crime rate is really high. You cannot just walk around in the middle of the night, you know, or when it gets really dark, because someone might just like mug you or something like that. There's high incidence of kidnapping there. For whatever purpose, it doesn't matter whether you're rich or you're poor. Sometimes they kidnap kids for organ donation or something like that, and sometimes they kidnap rich people for the money, for ransom. So it's not safe as compared to here. So job security is not as, the jobs there is not as secure as your jobs here. So in some ways it is better, but you know, of course, I grew up in the Philippines, so I still miss the tradition. The culture is totally different. My family, most of my family are still in the Philippines, and they're doing their best to get here to America as well, you know, or to just get out of the Philippines actually, for one. I'm really surprised because back then I had an easy time getting my visa as a tourist, but now, you know, my sister got denied, I think 2-3 times already for the visa, and I'm not quite sure what is going on. Maybe it's some policy change or some I have no idea, administration change or whatever that's causing it. But it's just so much harder to get a visa. And everyone there wants to go here. My parents, of course, would want to visit us, so they wanted to get here. I don't have any problem with my parents coming here because they already have their visa. Because if you're old and the older people, they have an easier way to get their visa, because yung immigration, I think they're thinking that the younger ones, they're not just gonna visit here, they're gonna stay, or we call it like TNT, become TNT in the Philippines. That's what we call it tago ng tago. So they kind of like stay here instead of go back to the Philippines, instead of just visiting. So I think that's what's causing the difficulty in giving the visa. So walang tiwala yung America to the Filipinos na totoong mag-visit lang sila. They have intention to stay, for life, something like that. But yeah, but it's still the same. The people there still thinks that life here is better compared to life in the Philippines. Well, I can't blame them. The Philippines is living there is really hard. It's difficult, but I don't know. So gusto nila siguro ng better life, so they wanna come here to America, and they see that America can give them that. So my brother-in-law is actually being petitioned already. He's leaving next month. He's being sponsored in Florida to work as a medical technologist. So he's getting a working visa. He's being sponsored by an employer.
After hearing all of this, I've realized that my understanding of culture and my own history has been greatly influenced by my parents' lives. They were pushed out of their own country by poverty and crime, while also being pulled by the idea of a better life here in America. Their struggles in both countries have led me to live life in various places. Reflecting upon it, I am glad that I was able to see what it was like in different places with different cultures. I'm grateful to my parents who gave me the opportunity to learn more. Everything I have been through has shaped how I see myself and my own racial identity.